Hello. My introduction to Nicola Sturgeon was my association with Humza Yousaf, who's a senior cabinet minister in the Scottish Parliament. And Humza, as you may recall, was abused appallingly by the only UKIP MEP in Scotland. And this man on the radio was asked, was doing an interview, and Humza Yousaf was also due to be on the programme. Humza was late, and Coburn was asked, do you have any idea where Humza Yousaf might be? And Coburn replied with a quip, Humza Yousaf, or as I would say, Abu Hamza. Which is an appalling instance of racism. Nigel Farage says, well, it's just a joke. Can't you take a joke? Well, no. When it comes to racism, cheap jokes are really the thing of the 1960s and 1970s, and that is the point. And that is why we have to be so careful about cheap jokes where the joke is basically racist. And in this particular case, it was a failure to distinguish between two names which sounded foreign to Mr. Coburn. Utterly unforgivable. One of those people was a terrorist in prison with no hands in a New York jail. The other is a minister of the Crown. Unforgivable. And Humza Yousaf, I very much remember our conversations about that, and Humza was deeply offended, and rightly so. And I took the issue up. I tried to deal with Mr. Farage, who was simply contemptuous of the idea that I should think this was significant. So I'm well aware of Nicola Sturgeon. Now, I don't share her views, I don't share her politics, and but at the same time, even at that point, quite a few years ago now, I was deeply impressed by the fact that, by her personality, by her position, and by her clear charisma. And that has only grown. I think she's made huge mistakes. I think her policies and I think her reputation as a leader has been greatly dented by an obsession with independence and a failure to deal with things like health and education. But we cannot fault that charisma and that leadership. If there's something that Liz Truss can learn, it is definitely from Nicola Sturgeon, and there should be significantly more than ignorance between the two. So I was delighted yesterday when Liz Truss was asked in a quickfire round, would you prefer to be stuck in a lift with Nicola Sturgeon or with Keir Starmer? She chose Nicola Sturgeon and said that she hoped that by the time they got to the bottom floor, she would have convinced Nicola Sturgeon not to be a separatist. Well, I hope she would have done some listening as well, because it is tiresome how Liz Truss simply assumes that she's the person who's always going to be doing the talking. Bay wants breakfast. So I think I'm going to have to stop and provide breakfast. Rishi Sunak's line that he would rather take the stairs, I think, was also quite a clever line, a bit glib, but Nicola Sturgeon is an important person, and Liz Truss has some way to make up for her comment about ignoring Nicola Sturgeon. We can't ignore a fellow politician in our own country. And that way is stupidity. Equally, I don't think we can be dismissive of a fellow politician immediately across the water in France.